All right, football fanatics, gather round. We're about to revisit a night that twisted stomachs, shattered expectations, and redefined impossible. March 8, 2017. The Champions League round of 16. Barcelona versus Paris Saint-Germain. And oh boy, did we have a mountain to climb. After a brutal 4-0 thrashing in the first leg, most pundits, fans, and probably even some of the players themselves thought Barca was toast. Done. Finished. But what unfolded next wasn't just a game. It was a saga. Was it a miracle straight from the heavens or a tactical masterpiece meticulously crafted? Let's find out. First, let's set the mood. The Parc des Princes had seen PSG deliver a tactical clinic. Barcelona looked. Well, they looked lost. Uninspired. Like they'd left their football boots on the plane. 4 goals down without an away goal to their name. In Champions League history, no team had ever recovered from a 4-goal first-leg deficit. Ever. It was statistically a done deal. The odds were against them. The narrative was written. Except, someone clearly forgot to tell Barcelona they couldn't rewrite it. This wasn't just about winning. It was about rewriting history. So, how do you even approach a game like this? Barcelona coach Luis Enrique knew he couldn't play conservatively. He needed a shock-and-awe campaign. His big tactical adjustment? A 3-4-3 formation. That's right, 3 at the back, pushing Jordi Alba way up, and trusting his midfield to dominate. It was a high-risk, high-reward strategy designed to overwhelm PSG's defense and maximize attacking pressure. Everyone knew they had to score early, often, and without conceding. Talk about pressure cooking a game plan. It was either genius or utter madness. The whistle blew, and Camp Nou was an absolute cauldron. The atmosphere was electric, a mixture of hope, desperation, and sheer belief. And Barcelona responded immediately. Just 3 minutes in, the stadium erupted. Luis Suarez, always sniffing out a chance, headed home after a scramble in the box. A beautiful, messy, absolutely crucial goal. Suddenly, that impossible 4-0 deficit didn't look quite so impossible. 3 more to go. PSG, meanwhile, looked shell-shocked. Their strategy of trying to ride out the storm was already failing. That early goal was a psychological sucker punch to PSG. You could practically see their confidence deflating like a cheap balloon. They came into a hostile environment with a massive lead, probably thinking they just needed to keep things tight. But Barca's intensity, coupled with the deafening Camp Nou roar, was too much. PSG couldn't settle, couldn't string passes together, and looked like rabbits in headlights. The pressure was mounting, and it was only the first 10 minutes. This wasn't the calm, composed PSG from the first leg. This was a team on the verge of unraveling. Just before half-time, the pressure cooker boiled over for PSG. A brilliant cross from Andres Iniesta, an absolute magician on the ball, caused chaos in the box. Layvin Kurzawa, under immense pressure, accidentally flicked the ball past his own goalkeeper. Oh, the agony for PSG. The relief for Barcelona. It was 2-0, and suddenly, the aggregate score was 4-2. Barca were halfway there by half-time. The belief inside Camp Nou became palpable, a tangible force. If they could get 2 in 45 minutes, why not 2 more in the next 45? The narrative was officially shifting. The second half kicked off, and Barcelona picked up right where they left off, relentless pressure. 5 minutes in, Neymar danced into the box and was brought down. Penalty. No hesitation from the referee. Up stepped the man, the myth, the legend, Lionel Messi. Cool as you like, he buried it. 3-0. The aggregate was now 4-3. Unbelievable. Camp Nou was losing its mind, sensing something truly special was brewing. PSG's defense was crumbling under the weight of Barca's attack and the sheer momentum swing. They needed to find a way to stem the tide, but they just couldn't. A penalty? Some called it soft, a dive. PSG felt robbed. Barcelona felt vindicated. The stakes were impossibly high. Just when Barcelona had all the momentum, just when Camp Nou dared to truly believe. Boom. PSG landed a devastating counterpunch. Edinson Cavani, who had been relatively quiet, found himself with space in the box and absolutely rifled a shot into the net. 3-1. Aggregate 5-3. Not only did it restore PSG's two-goal cushion, but more importantly, it was an away goal. Barcelona now needed 3 more goals to win, without conceding again. The air went out of the stadium. It felt like the impossible had just been re-impossibled. The dream looked dead. That Cavani goal was a gut punch. You could hear the collective groan from millions of Barcelona fans worldwide. All that effort, all that belief, seemingly undone in an instant. PSG's away goal meant Barcelona couldn't just score 3 more. They needed to score 3 more asterisk and asterisk hold PSG scoreless. The task had just gotten exponentially harder. The atmosphere at Camp Nou, which had been boiling, now felt like it had been plunged into ice water. But this is where the character of a team is truly tested. What do you do when the odds, once again, become insurmountable? With 10 minutes left, and trailing 5-3 on aggregate, most teams would pack it in. Not this Barcelona. And this is where Neymar Jr. stepped into the spotlight, not as a supporting act, but as the undeniable protagonist. Up until this point, he'd been good, but not asterisk Neymar star. But in the final minutes, he transcended. He knew this was his moment to etch his name into history just outside the box. It's a tricky angle, but for Neymar, it was an absolute rocket. The ball curled, dipped, and sailed past Kevin Trapp's outstretched hands into the top corner. Goal. 4-1. Aggregate 5-4. The roar from Camp Nou was like nothing heard before. Disbelief turned into a surge of adrenaline. There was a glimmer, a tiny, improbable glimmer of hope. Could they actually do it? This wasn't just a goal. It was a declaration. Again, the referee pointed to the spot. PSG players were furious, surrounding the official, claiming a dive. Replays are debatable, but in real time, the call stood. Who steps up for this monumental moment? Neymar, again. Ice in his veins. He calmly dispatched the penalty. 5-1. Aggregate 5-5. Breathtaking insanity. Could they? While Barcelona found another gear, PSG completely lost theirs. The away goal should have given them composure, but instead, it seemed to drain them. The sight of Barcelona coming back, goal after goal, broke their spirit. They couldn't retain possession, couldn't defend, couldn't even foul effectively. Their experienced players looked shell-shocked, unsure how asterisk not asterisk to hold onto a lead. Run into the box. This wasn't a desperate punt. It was a perfectly weighted, utterly precise pass. Neymar could have gone for glory himself, but he chose the assist. That, my friends, is pure genius and incredible selflessness. The ball sails over the PSG defense, and there he is, Sergio Roberto, the unlikeliest of heroes, stretching every fiber of his being. He gets just enough contact to flick it past Trapp. 6-1. Aggregate 6-5. Camp Nou absolutely erupted into a scene of pure, unadulterated delirium. Grown men were crying, strangers were hugging, and the collective roar shook the very foundations of the stadium. It was the 95th minute. The 95th minute. From impossible to improbable to unbelievable to done. History, rewritten in the most dramatic fashion imaginable. The referee blew the full-time whistle literally seconds after Roberto's goal, sealing one of the greatest comebacks in sports history. The players piled on top of each other, exhausted, jubilant, and probably in shock themselves. Luis Enrique, often criticized, was vindicated. Neymar, Messi, Suarez, Iniesta, every single player had given everything. PSG players collapsed to the ground, tears streaming, utterly devastated. They had let a 4-goal lead slip. The sheer contrast of emotions on that pitch was a spectacle in itself. It was the kind of drama movies are made of. So, was this a tactical masterpiece by Luis Enrique? His decision to switch to a 3-4-3 was bold and effective. It gave Barcelona the width, the pressing power, and the sheer attacking numbers needed to overwhelm PSG. But let's be honest, luck played its part too. Those controversial refereeing decisions, the last gasp goals. Can you really plan for that level of chaos? Enrique put the pieces in place, but the players, particularly Neymar, had to execute flawlessly, and the football gods had to be smiling. It's never just one thing, is it? This match, for many, solidified Neymar's status as a global superstar, a player capable of grabbing a game by the scruff of the neck and dragging his team to victory. While Messi is often the architect, his penalty, his assist for Sergio Roberto, a direct hand in 3 goals in 7 minutes. It was a performance for the ages. Visit the ref. Deniz Atakan had a game he'll never forget, for better or worse. The 2 penalties awarded to Barcelona were crucial. The first on Neymar, while debatable, was given. The second on Suarez was highly controversial, with many calling it a clear dive. Then there's the clear foul by Mascherano on Di Maria in the box, which was somehow missed. Had these undeniably swung momentum. On the flip side, PSG's players and management were utterly crushed. To hold a 4-goal lead and then an away goal, only to concede 3 in 7 minutes of pure madness, is a trauma most teams never recover from. Unai Emery, the coach, faced immense criticism, or relieve pressure, were heavily scrutinized. It wasn't just a loss, it was an emotional wound that took years to heal for some. For PSG, it became a symbol of their Champions League curse. For those in camp knew that night, it wasn't just a football match, it was an out-of-body experience. The energy, the belief, the despair, the hope, and finally, the eruption of pure joy. It was a roller coaster of emotions that transcended the game itself. The viral images of fans celebrating, some crying, some in utter disbelief, tell only part of the story. This was a collective catharsis, a moment where thousands of people shared an impossible dream come true. You can't replicate that feeling. You just can't. It's why we love this beautiful, chaotic game. So, the million-dollar question: miracle or masterpiece? A masterpiece suggests meticulous planning, flawless execution, and tactical superiority. Barcelona certainly showed elements of that, especially in their relentless attack and Enrique's formation switch. But a miracle implies divine intervention, a touch of the unexplainable, a huge dollop of luck. The refereeing calls, the timing of the goals, the sheer improbable nature of the comeback after Cavani's away goal, it all leans heavily into the miraculous. It's probably both, a beautiful, chaotic fusion where human brilliance met unbelievable fortune. Now for the big one. Does La Remontada remain the greatest Champions League comeback of all time? We've seen some epic ones. Liverpool in Istanbul, Man United in '99, Roma against Barca in 2018. But none started from a 4-goal deficit, and none had the sheer, last-gasp, injury-time drama of needing 3 goals in 7 minutes, including an away goal handicap. The stakes, the controversy, the individual brilliance, the collective despair and ecstasy, it's a potent cocktail. It's hard to argue against its top spot. This wasn't just a comeback, it was a psychological warfare triumph. Let's be fair, other comebacks are legendary for their own reasons. Istanbul 2005 saw Liverpool come back from 3-0 down at halftime in a final. That's immense. Manchester United's 1999 final win against Bayern, scoring 2 in injury time, was equally dramatic. Roma's 3-0 win over Barca in 2018, overturning a 4-1 deficit, was another stunner. But La Remontada combines elements of all of them: the sheer scale of the deficit, the psychological swing after Cavani's goal, and the unprecedented flurry of late goals. It truly stands apart due to the sheer mathematical improbability. Let's look at some numbers. Barcelona had 65% possession, 20 shots to PSG 7. They dominated every statistical category except the crucial away goal count after Cavani scored. But numbers only tell part of the story. How do you quantify the shift in belief, the psychological momentum, the sheer will of a team refusing to give up? The data screamed Barcelona dominance, but it couldn't capture the intangible magic that allowed them to score 3 goals in the dying minutes. Sometimes, football transcends statistics. Sometimes, it's just meant to be. Or, good refereeing. Beyond the goals and the drama, what truly endures from La Remontada is that iconic image. Messi standing on the advertising hoardings, fists pumping, engulfed by a sea of celebrating fans. It wasn't just a celebration of a win. It was a celebration of defiance, of proving everyone wrong, of achieving the impossible. It perfectly encapsulated the raw emotion and unbelievable scale of what had just happened. That image is now etched into Champions League lore, a symbol of hope, belief, and maybe a little bit of cheeky refereeing. Seriously, what a moment. Think about the ripple effect of this game. For Barcelona, it was a moment of euphoria, but ultimately, they didn't win the Champions League that season. For PSG, it became a scar, arguably contributing to Neymar's eventual transfer to Paris, seeking his own spotlight and a Champions League title. Oh, the irony. This single match, this one incredible comeback, had long-lasting consequences for both clubs, shaping narratives and transfer sagas for years to come. It wasn't just a game, it was a catalyst for future football history. Wild, right? For PSG, La Remontada was a brutal lesson in mental fortitude. They were too passive, too reactive, and simply crumbled under pressure. It highlighted a recurring issue for them. They learn. Well, they've since invested heavily, trying to buy their way to a Champions League title, but the ghost of this game still haunts them. It's a stark reminder that even with all the talent and money in the world, the mental aspect of the game can be your biggest undoing. You can't just buy a comeback-proof mentality. On Barcelona's side, it reinforced their legendary DNA, Ms. QUN club, more than a club. It was a testament to their unwavering belief, even in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds. That night proved that with their attacking talent, the roar of Camp Nou, and a bit of unexplained magic, anything was possible. It's a mentality forged in moments like these, where giving up simply isn't an option. They truly embodied the spirit of relentless pursuit, a characteristic that defines many great teams throughout history. Never, ever give up. What makes La Remontada so captivating is its raw human drama. It's a story of despair, hope, triumph, and crushing defeat, all compressed into 90 minutes, plus injury time, of course. It shows how fragile a lead can be, how quickly momentum can shift, and how individual brilliance combined with collective will can defy logic. It's why we watch sports, right? For those moments that make your jaw drop, your heart race, and leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about the game. This was pure, unadulterated human drama at its finest. March 8, 2017. Mark it down. This wasn't just another Champions League match. This was the Champions League match. It's a game that will be replayed, analysed, and debated for generations. It showed us that in football, the script is never truly written until the final whistle blows. And even then, sometimes it feels like it was scribbled in the last few seconds by a mad genius. Whether you call it a miracle, a masterpiece, or a controversial cluster, one thing is for sure, it was unforgettable. An absolute cinematic thriller in real time. Let's not forget the 96,000 screaming fans at Camp Nou. They were the 12th man, an absolute force of nature. Their unwavering belief, their roar after every single goal, their collective gasp and then renewed hope after Cavani's strike, it all played a crucial role. A hostile crowd can rattle even the most seasoned professionals, and PSG visibly struggled under the pressure. This wasn't just home advantage. It was an emotional tidal wave that Barcelona rode to victory. The crowd truly willed them over the finish line. Imagine being there. Poor Unai Emery. He's a talented coach, but this game will forever be a blot on his record. His team, known for its attacking prowess, became overly defensive and lost all initiative. Perhaps the pressure got to him, or maybe he simply underestimated Barcelona's resolve. The decision not to make tactical adjustments earlier, or to try and take the sting out of the game, proved costly. One has to wonder what he would do differently if he could relive those 90 minutes. I bet he'd tell his team to attack, 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 or at least hold onto the ball once in a while. For PSG, La Remontada became a recurring nightmare, a psychological hurdle they've struggled to overcome in subsequent Champions League campaigns. It's hard to shake off such a monumental collapse. Every time they reach a crucial stage, the whispers of war that can paralyze players and even entire squads. Until they win that elusive Champions League trophy, this ghost will continue to haunt them, serving as a constant reminder of how quickly dreams can turn into nightmares. What kind of legacy does La Remontada leave? It's a legacy of belief, of the power of a team, a coach, and a stadium uniting to defy all odds. It's a story told and retold, used as inspiration in football locker rooms and in life. It showed us that when faced with an impossible situation, sometimes you just need to keep pushing, keep believing, and maybe, just maybe, history will bend to your will. It's the ultimate underdog story, even when the underdog is Barcelona. A true testament to the beautiful game's unpredictability. This match fundamentally changed the narrative of what's possible in the Champions League knockout stages. Before, a 4-0 first leg lead felt like an unassailable fortress. Now, every big lead carries a tiny seed of doubt, a whisper of remember la remontada. It added a new chapter to the competition's already rich history, a benchmark for drama and resilience. Teams now know that even the most commanding lead can evaporate in a hostile environment, creating more exciting, nail-biting encounters for us, the fans. Thank you, Barcelona and PSG, for the heart attack. Later cast a strange shadow over his heroics. He left a club where he could perform miracles, to chase his own destiny elsewhere. Perhaps he felt he needed to be the undisputed main man. But one thing is for sure, this game, this specific performance, is forever intertwined with his name. It was his greatest moment in a Barcelona shirt, a display of individual brilliance that very few players in history could replicate. What a player! Even though Neymar took center stage in the final moments, let's not forget the sheer presence of Lionel Messi. His penalty was vital, his constant threat kept PSG on edge, and his mere presence inspired his teammates. Messi might not have scored the decisive goal, but he was the gravitational force that held Barcelona together and pushed them forward. His leadership, even when not overtly vocal, was immense. The image of him on the hoardings wasn't just about his goal, it was about their comeback. He was the conductor of this impossible orchestra. Do a remontada entered the lexicon. It was a story shared across news outlets. It can be stranger and more dramatic than fiction. This wasn't just a game for football nerds. It was a human interest story about resilience, belief, and the sheer unpredictability of life. It's the kind of story that gets told around campfires, even if the campfire is just a dimly lit screen. So, miracle or masterpiece? Our final verdict: it was both. A tactical masterpiece in Enrique's bold formation, Barcelona's relentless pressing, and Neymar's individual brilliance. But also, undeniably, a miracle, with those crucial refereeing decisions, the last gasp goals, and the sheer audacity of needing 3 goals in 7 minutes with an away goal disadvantage. It was a perfect storm of human endeavour, tactical nous, and a sprinkle of divine, controversial chaos. It's what makes it the greatest, isn't it? The beautiful, the ugly, the incredible, all in one unforgettable package. And there you have it, folks. The complete breakdown of La Remontada. What an absolute rollercoaster. For me, it remains the ultimate Champions League comeback, precisely because it combines so many incredible elements into one chaotic, beautiful package. But what do you think? Was it a miracle, a masterpiece, or something else entirely? Did the referee ruin it for PSG, or did Barcelona earn every single goal? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more epic football stories, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive. Thanks for watching, and stay legendary.